Kings, my master. We shall have no challenges with power, King of Kings. We will enable the speaker to start well and finish well, King of Kings. There will be no disruption. We want to pray against the hackers who come to disorganize us. Whoever comes, my master, Lord, your word shall speak to him, and instead of running away or causing confusion, he will get born again. You did it for Saul, and even changing his name to Paul, my master, and make him a preacher of the word. The one who was a prosecutor became the preacher. So one prayer, my master, these who come online to prosecute us, they will become the preachers of the word, my master. So use them, O God, for the glory of your name, that their hidden agendas to disrupt your kingdom, King of Kings, the evil intentions of God, my master, they will turn for the good of God. My master, when Barak sent Balaam to cast the Israelites, King of Kings, used Balaam to declare a blessing upon the children of Israel. So even my master, those who come to disorganize us this evening, Lord our Father, in Jesus' name, you will touch them and use them to be the whispers of the gospel. In Jesus' name, my master. I want to pray, Father, King of Kings, for the honor and charge of Ghana, my master, that you continue to bless us, so God, you continue to be with us as your children, King of Kings. We come here every day, my master, at different hours of God, that we may learn, that we may, my master, learn from you, because you are the best teacher, King of Kings. So we thank you so much for the opportunity that we come here and learn every day. We come here, my master, and we're able to speak to you every morning, oh God. My master, we come here at lunchtime, King of Kings, and we sit under your feet, listen to your word, King of Kings. And we have been, Lord Father Steward, fed very well, and we thank God so much for that. We come here every evening, King of Kings, and listen from different speakers of God. Again, King of Kings, at your feet, we have been learning a lot, and you have been defeated a lot, my master. So I want to thank you so much for all the speakers who have been coming here, for all the moderators, King of Kings, for all the leaders, King of Kings, on different fellowships, my master, and especially our main leaders of God, that the King of Kings, and even our Archbishop, my master, who is the vision bearer of this King of Kings. We thank you, my master, that King of Kings, you've even seen us, oh God, being approved by the Provincial Assembly, my master, last week, oh God. We cannot take that for granted, King of Kings, because now we know that we are fully established under the canons of the Church of Ghana, my master. And that's a very big blessing of God. And I want to pray, God, that we shall continue to gospel the gospel everywhere we go, King of Kings, and your name will be glorified and exalted, my master. We thank you, we praise you. In your name we have prayed and believed. Amen and amen. Friends, once again, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you. I thank you so much for logging on. You're always welcome, especially, as I always say, our sisters. You are always welcome. Thank you so much for always taking your time to join us and being part of us. We cannot take it for granted that you always log in and you invite your friends, invite your spouses, invite your sisters and brothers, invite your parents to come and be with us. We cannot take that for granted. For those who are seated together with their families and they are listening in from wherever you are, still want to say thank you so much for taking your time. And everyone here, once again, thank you and thank you. Now, this evening, our speaker is none other than Mr. Okello. Moses is a member of this fellowship. He has been here with us for a long time. At least he's always attending. And he's a husband to one beautiful wife. I have met the wife. I have known the wife. She's a very wonderful woman, a preacher of the word, one and only Reverend Lillian Okello. And she's also online. One thank God that she's also part of our talk tonight. And together they have three handsome boys, whom they are grooming very well. Mr. Okello is also the CEO of Samoa Services. He will tell us more about that. And things to do with technology. So he's the best person that is going to talk to us about this topic, marriage in the technology era. Of course, most marriages these days, they are having challenges, especially with technology. I have heard of some couples who, when they get in their bed, instead of talking together, they are talking through their machines. They're sleeping together on the same bed, but they are chatting through WhatsApp. So social media has also become a very big problem. So technology is a big thing in a marriage. It's for both, brings both good things and bad things. So I will not go so much into the topic because I'm not the speaker. But I want us to put our hands together from wherever you are. Please put your virtual hands together and welcome Mr. Okello, Moss Andrew, speak to us this evening. My brother, welcome, and may God bless you as you speak to us.
Thank you, Dixon. Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. But there's some echo. Yeah, now the echo is no more.
I was trying to put on the video, but seems it's not coming out. The audio is on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dixon. And I want to thank God for this day, this evening, for His mercies that are new every day. My name is Moses Okello, like you rightly said. And I would like to thank the Online Church of Uganda leadership for giving me this opportunity to share in the word with his children, especially on the topic of the marriage in the era of the digital age. I thank God so much because He lives. We are able to see a day like this and even see tomorrow. So we bless His name for the many gifts that He gives us, the gift of marriage, of family, of fellowship like this. It is by His grace, not because we have done anything special. And so when called upon to serve, it is a joy and a privilege to serve the Lord. So I thank the mamas and the papas of this very important church that is wide and far across the globe. And we thank God for the knowledge and wisdom that He gives His people to be able to have these cutting technologies that we're able to disseminate His information, His word, and to touch lives that are hurting and to encourage those who are helpless in a way. So you already indicated in terms of introduction, I am married as well to one wife. Like rightly you said, certainly if there were more than two, I know you would have not invited me. So I thank the Lord for the gift of marriage and for the years that He has blessed us with, and for the many years ahead of us, and the gifts He has given us, the children, and those all under our care. We bless the Lord. And so, from a personal experience, I've had the opportunity to serve this country and designing especially digital policies at national level and even implementing the ICT agenda, especially in diffusing ICT usage in the educational institutions and cross-cutting sectors like health and agriculture. I think issues that come up are the challenges that come up with the usage of ICT. And the marriage institution is not spared either. So this evening, the Lord being our guide, I pray that He will use me to be able to share these experiences. And I pray that out of this, that many lives will be touched in one way or the other, and they will be transformed as we make the best use of ICT. So allow me share my screen, and we get started. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. And so this is the topic that we have. For one reason, really, the video has it's indicating here is on, but I don't see it. So there should be some technological error somewhere. But we thank the Lord that the slides are on. So this is the topic that we are going to share this evening at marriage in the digital age, and sub-theme being marriage and social media usage. And this is presented to the Online Church of Uganda. And on a personal note, ICT is something that I value most because there is a lot of potential that can be done in any field of life when really this is done in the right way. And so today, in this topic, looking at the marriage in the digital age, I have this presentation outline to introduce the topic, which in a way I've already highlighted, and define some key concepts within the topic that were given, the third theme. And then, since we're talking about marriage, I think it is important that we refer to really marriage in the Christian context, because we know there are different forms of marriages depending on which side a person stands from. And so really our discussion will be hinged on the Christian context of marriage and the purpose. And so that when we are talking about the digital uh, technologies and tools, especially the social media, we get to know that the fulcrum is the marriage, that once we know what is the purpose of marriage, then we are able to see how we can deploy or make best use of technology or social media for that matter to make the most of our marriages. And so once we are done with that, we'll be able to look at really the pros or the benefits that we can realize and those disadvantages that come with the social media usage. And then thereafter, we should be able to derive some best practices. And in this, I'll be sharing my personal experiences as a family person and also as a parent and a husband, and somebody also has interfaced uh, with the policy aspects of ICT for that matter. And thereafter, we shall conclude. So I believe we shall be able to summarize this so that we have some ample time to raise issues or to share uh, additional experiences, because this is something that we live every day, every night, every minute, considering where we are today with the explosion of the information and communication technologies. So friends, is this just a recap to remind ourselves, especially the believers who subscribe to the Lord's will and the purposes for which marriage was created, that we know that marriage was initiated by God. It is His idea right from the time of creation, and that in Genesis chapter 1:27 it says in His word that He made male and female. And so there was a reason he had to make male and female. And he said in his word that for this reason the man will leave his father and mother and will be united with his wife, and the two will become one flesh. And so here, in the context of a Christian marriage, we are talking of husband and wife who are male and female. And origin is the author himself is God the Almighty, our Creator. And so we see in this that really marriage is a very deep spiritual relation, because it has that triangle relationship of the man, the wife, and Christ being at the center of it all. And we see that emphasized in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 21 to 23, when Paul really writes out what the relation should be between that the husband should love his wife, the woman should respect or submit to her husband, just like Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. So in these responsibilities are given out to the man, to the wife, and for us to be able to achieve that, then Christ should be at the center to enable us perform those roles of the husband and wife. So this is where we derive the basis of the Christian marriage, and that should mirror God's image and its intended purpose for his creation. That even when we talk about now being fruitful, to conquer and all that, that we're able to work together to complement one another, the husband and the wife, and to be able to be fruitful and multiply and do that work that the Lord has purposed us to do. So this is how we are going to look at this, that once this is very clear, why the marriage, what intended, what the husband's role is, what the wife's role in this context is, then it becomes very clear for us to be able to discuss other things that come our way once we know what we believe in, what the yardstick or those principles that we should live by. Then it becomes to handle the other issues that come our way. Today it might be digital age, tomorrow it will be something else. But what God purposed in terms of the husband and wife will always stay. And so that should be very important. Relatedly, for us to clarify, to remind ourselves or refresh ourselves as we delve into this topic, is that the digital age, the digital era, or ICT, information and communication technology, or information society, the Internet of Things, the fourth industrial revolution, name it, all can be explained in terms of that environment in which digital media and the related technologies and applications, the infrastructure that is networked, and all that are within or operated within the spheres of our human or everyday life. And this is what we're experiencing today, that the world is so networked that there's a lot of information or a means for us to really exchange information and all that. And that if we are not very careful, we will get derailed or overwhelmed with the amount of information or what the world is churning out in terms of data, and that could potentially leapfrog us, build us up in terms of our marriages, our families, our work life and all that. And so we have to be cognizant of this. And so we see today that this has resulted into rapid transformations in the device medium that people are using to connect with one another. We have a situation where there's a lot of interactions in the social space and that we are living in currently. And so in that context, when we hone it down or narrow it now that the social media in this particular discussion becomes just a collective term for websites and applications that focus majorly on communication, community-based input, where myself will become a content creator. At the same time, I'm also a consumer of this content, and that comes around with the community that I interact with. And this community can be a family, can be the society within the online community, and the wider global community that we are interconnected with. And so that's where we find ourselves interacting, sharing content, creating content, using these different platforms. So in that relation, social media now enables us as users to swap ideas, to post updates that is concerning us, timelines in real time. Somebody is boarding a plane, you're communicating to your loved ones and whoever cares to know that you have just boarded or you are landing in, or this has happened, it's their birthday, and all that. So it has really enabled us to be active participants in the various activities, events, and sharing our wider interests. And so that's the world we are living in today. And so it is got a bearing in terms of us, if you are a family person, if you're a married person, it does not spare you. And in one way or another, you are in one side or social networking site or the other. So it becomes an issue in terms of our relations. And so this is a concept I wanted to understand on this. So having highlighted those definitions, we go back really to now appraise ourselves on what is the purpose of marriage in the context of the definitions and the text that we shared earlier in terms of the origin of marriage. And so we see that according to God, really marriage is meant to give us that mutual help and guidance. And we highlighted this already in Ephesians 5:25. And so your spouse can be of help to you, can be of encouragement to you, is supposed to work with you, to complement you, to support you uh, in good and bad times. And so God, because you remember that Adam was lonely, and when God saw that he was lonely, he created a suitable helper. And when we really saw her, he saw Eve, he was very, very delighted about it. And so there is an aspect of companionship here, an aspect of fellowship. And so that is what God wants us to achieve and enjoy in this marriage relationship. Beyond the physical and the spiritual fulfillment, we know when you get married, you're really attracted to this person. They are beautiful, handsome, and it's all what you desire in a spouse. So that is supposed to nourish you as you share the journey, walk together, share your aspirations, the fears, and the purposes that you want to achieve in life. This is very good for us human beings and especially for Christians in that matter. The other one, we see that through this, St. Paul in First Corinthians chapter 7:17 talks about when Christians were asking whether it was good to marry and all that, and really said yes, it is very good for a man to marry if they cannot control themselves. And so you have your spouse or your husband, and you have your wife, and so you consummate your marriage and be able to stay to your covenant that you made before God. And so that becomes very important. And then the other one we see in Genesis 1:8 that through this that we're able to procreate and to expand God's kingdom through the gift of marriage. And even if maybe God has not blessed you because the children are a gift from God, still that companionship you enjoy really pleases God, and it's an act of worship. We see it also in Genesis 9:1, God promising Noah to be fruitful and expand, and likewise in chapter 35, when he promises Jacob that he would be what? He would be fruitful and expand his nation. And indeed, we see that happen. And so, in all this, we are able to draw that this covenantal character of marriage entails that it's something sacred before God, and it involves permanence. It is sacred. It is an intimate relationship. There is mutual respect and love, and it's exclusive to those people who have made this covenant. And this is how God intended it, and this is the very purpose that He has ordained before us. So therefore, it follows that as Christian marriages, they should be peaceful, they should be well ordered, and should be characterized by constant harmony. There should be harmony between husband, wife, and the children, and the community around them. Because remember, the family is the basic unit of society. And so it should be watered, it should be nourished, and there should be that spiritual atmosphere where we're able to grow. And our motives should be pure when we're entering into this. And that makes God to bless us and to grow us and expand our territories. And there should be that stability in the marriage and in the family setting. So these are the things that we have to guard. This is what we should be able to bear in mind when whatever we are trying to can divert our attentions or difficulties in our marriages, that we know that the purpose of marriage is God ordained, and they are basic pillars, and that should be our guiding principle when all the other issues come up. We are able to know what defines us, which direction we are taking, irrespective of the issues or the challenges that come our way. So I thought that was very, very important. And so that when we go now to the social media tools and applications as of today, or their functions, which really entail that, we need to focus on our identity or to be known. We need to enhance our conversations across as a family, maybe as married couples. We need to share information, photos, and all those good things that happen in our way, or even the bad ones. And we need to show our presence. We need to build relationships across the borders, even for people who have never seen but we're anxious to know them. So some are searching for reputation, want to belong to groups for different reasons. Some potentially could build us, others could destroy our lives and the lives of our loved ones. And so this is really, really key context under which we should be able to discuss this topic and really uh, to remind ourselves that as we're in this media space, we should be cognizant. What is it that we actually trying to achieve in choosing these different platforms that we are in? And you begin to ask yourself that do you really need maybe to be among all these platforms? You're in Facebook, you're in Instagram, you name it, MySpace, you have TikTok, WhatsApp, and they are being created every day. And so you find someone is struggling to be or to catch up with the social media. And in the process, many issues come up. So as Christians, what then defines us? And so those are the issues that we are going to really remind and discuss. I'll say that is it worth sometimes on some of these things, or there are some considerations that we have to make as Christians with the spirit of discernment. And so from that perspective, having highlighted the purpose of marriage, the the social media, the context, and the as a function that can give us, we should be able to really see what could be the potential advantages for us as married people, as people in ministry, as family heads or prospective husbands and wives. And we need to know that yes, there are numerous advantages for us to be involved in the social media. That one, we're able to witness and influence uh, the, the mission for Christ by witnessing and winning souls to Christ. And I take example of what the online church of Uganda is doing right now, that across the globe, people have the opportunity to be able to access the gospel because we are making a good use of social media. We are making good use of the technology to be able to disseminate the word of Christ to those who are lost. And so it's a very, very good tool, a very rich tool that we can use to reach out uh, to the communities, to those people who need to know and turn to Christ. And as spouses, we be able to stay in touch with our families, with our friends, and that is very good. Remember, before it was very expensive, maybe making only just phone calls and all that. But now we have a varied array of options that we can use to stay connected with our loved ones. And that is a plus, and that we should exploit. We have no reason not to know what is happening in the lives of our friends, or even sharing those moments when life seems to be tough. And yes, social media usage can build on enhanced relationships, our intimacy, when we use it as a supplement to our human interaction. They shouldn't replace, but they can supplement. Maybe at the workplace, or by any chance you've gotten a job which takes you far away from home. So it becomes a tool, it becomes an aid for us to reach out, but it cannot substitute for the human interactions as God planned. That with time, even if you have those who have gotten into relationships through social media and all that, at one point you will have to make a step to be able to meet this person and see whether actually they are real what a person. And because we know people can camouflage, they can impersonate and all that. And so it takes another level for you really to confirm. And so there is still that limitation that much as it can aid us, we really need to move a step to be able physically to cement these human interactions. Yes, and digital versions, I already talked about that. And couples need other couples. And social media is able to do this. I think online typical in St. Francis Chapel Market University, where I fellowship from. The Marriage Fellowship is a very big ministry. It is ministered people far beyond this country. And we are using social media to be able to reach out to our members and even uh, those who can benefit from this ministry in marriage counseling and all that. So it is a very powerful tool that we really need to make the best use of social media, even in our marriages, and to build one another, because when we come together, we have different experiences, be able to share them, be able to encourage one another, and really testify for Christ. And we're able to discover common interests with other friends, meetings, and all that, organizing events of different forms, and coordinating all these things. The social media is able to do that. But it has to be guided, it has to be deliberately with the spirit of discernment, because it could also turn out the other way around. So, having highlighted the pros, which there can be as numerous as men have just highlighted a few to show us the potential that the social media has to influence us positively. And on the other side, we have the cons or the disadvantages. And we have seen this uh, communication breakdown and marital conflict, especially where there are suspicions, where maybe one spouse is taken up with the social media and all that, and this raises issues of mistrust, of conflicts, fights, and it could potentially break down a marriage. And we have to be very, very careful about that. You've seen cases where one spouse actually late in the night you are engaged, engrossed in social media, and all that total breakdown of really the human aspect that brings. And we have to know that we are coming together, we are human, we are social beings, we need that connection. And so we have to be wary of this. This is happening in our communities. And so it is important that let social media, let not WhatsApp, let not Facebook, Instagram, or whichever platform you are in, bring a breakdown that you are not able to communicate. Because then I wonder how you would value a relationship on a virtual media which you are not very certain than the person who is just around you and you're so excited having 1,000 members as friends, virtual friends, than this one physical friends that you have within your vicinity in your bedroom. And you're so excited about that. So it's something to add. Anxiety and stress. You find this reduces our productivity at home, at school, and workplace. Especially for children, you'll see their performance going down. One testified this. We had an issue in this. I will be sharing later in the best practices how we've gone around it, especially for children at the workplace. So you find somebody is taking up so much with the social interactions than actually their work, or the food is not being served at the right time at home and all that, and that affects the relations that we have, and it has stress on both the couples, and that is not good for us. We have cyberbullying and stalking, and this has resulted in the violation of marriages and family, and especially for people who post a lot of information about family, where you are, what is happening in your life, how the children are performing. You are putting a progress report. Not every person out there means well for us. So we have to be discerning. And the family privacy. Look at the cyberspace as a giant shopping center. And there is a tendency for us to be safe in our rooms, like everything is secure. But remember, the people who created this are also able to access whatever information you are uploading there. So it's like a giant shopping center that if you rent a room and have not locked in that shopping mall, anyone can access it. And so we have to have a discerning spirit and to know and the wisdom what can be shared about your family, about your loved ones, about what you are doing. You have seen cases, increased cases of physical attacks and all that, actually robberies and all that, because we put out a lot of information concerning us that can be used against us. So may we be wise. And there is that compromise physical and emotional security and family, as a wife or a husband, you begin not to be sure whether the relationship, because somebody is either flirting and all that. And there's increased likelihood of temptation for somebody to get engaged because they think they are doing it in a private way, they have passwords and all that. And that disorganizes the family, the marriage, and all that. And we risk actually getting addictions, risky and solitary behaviors. You saw somebody is seated at home, it is lunch, a meal time, and you are not part of the meal because everyone is on their phone. You cannot bring a cohesion in the family, and so there needs to be some discipline. Then there's a lot of graphic content, and with the host of issues that come with it, perversion for the young children, even for the adults, getting involved in pornographic content. Some of these sites just churn it out. And not forgetting the health problems that come with prolonged use of social media. You find children, the eyesight dims before time. We're looking for eyeglasses and all that, and it's coming from some of these things. Then long sitting and people gaining lots of weight and all that, and your spouse really not being impressed with how you look like and all that. And then because some people are farming you with their photos out there, you begin to say that the outside people or those compliments that you get are more encouraging to you. And so that really affects us. So quite a number of them, depending on your context, you should be able to draw that, social media has own as best practices. I want to raise that maintain an open door policy. We as the Okellos, maybe to share. My wife accesses all my emails, my phone. She can access it anytime. I can access, I know her passwords. Uh, I can access, so that you leave it in the open door. It's a form of accountability. It is worked for us. People may say, but this is my privacy, but you are one, as per our discussion as Christians. So why would you have a private life, virtual life, from the physical life, from the spouse, from the person you share a bed with, from the person you committed, that I take you as my lawful spouse and all that. And then now you have that kind of life that brings insecurity and all the related issues. And we need to have a wise use of access features. First you need to know what, before you even subscribe to a site or open a profile and that. Know the limits, or if not, get technical guidance, because there's provision on how far, who can see and all that, so that a limited information goes out, does not go to people who may actually bring harm to you as a family or break down your marriage. People have lost marriages because of that, and because they did not do the right thing. So think about so much how much information you should give out, and what level of detail. A person's spouse. Why would you take a photo of your back or your bumps or skimpy thing and you're posting it on whom are you targeting? So there should be a level for discernment. You are a married person. You are posting things like, are you prospecting for another relationship? And that's where stalkers come in. We had a close friend who frequented posting some of those pictures, and the stalkers kept on her case and all that, and it was really embarrassing to see that even the husband is able to see that this is what you're doing. So what is it exactly that you're trying to achieve when you're in the media space? Especially if you know what the purpose of marriage is and you committed yourself to one another. Do you have to behave again like you are available? That even if you are available, is it the best way to become available? So there should be key considerations when we are doing some of these things. That if this information, think about it, that if it appeared in the paper headline, the information, is it something you'd be comfortable with? That should be something that we should bear in mind. And as parents, we should be conscious with our kids, especially. There's a lot of information and they can be hoodwinked and all that. And for that matter, as a family, we actually decided to actually withdraw the phones from the children. They do not need them, and actually they will not die. Because initially there was resistance, but we resolved because we saw what was happening. That actually you check these guys at midnight, they are involved in other groups of fun. Because you have no influence over other children, you try to do the best you can, and that is very important. And creating boundaries that are reasonable and workable. As a family, if it is lunch time, as with Okellos, if it is family time, a lunch or supper, or before one, not a TV cannot be on when children are eating or a family is eating. Person should not be on the net networking when there is a family activity going on. There should be boundaries, and they should be workable. And the other one is social media vacations. It's good to take time and leave the social media sometimes. And you realize life, people who want to reach you, they will always reach you. Actually, we had issue mainly with my wife sometime in 2018. I think thereabout, she was involved in ministry, women's encounter, and there was a lot of coordination and all that. And that after that, I think she had the effect of it. She really had challenges in controlling her media usage, and it was a concern to me. I raised it up with her, although there was a bit of defense and all that, but I stood ground that there was a problem. That even after past midnight, you are responding to that you are counseling, you are getting information, and so we agreed. She agreed. She was going to withdraw from WhatsApp actually, and that she ably did almost for 2 years or so. She's come back, but now purposely to specific projects like online and maybe her studies. And she really saw sense in it. That even now, I will still, if I see a problem, I share with her. Even her, when she points, maybe children are asking for things, whatever, I say, maybe this is not a time for this. Can we give time to the children, to the family? And so that has worked for us. And we say beyond 9 p.m., what are those really important things that cannot wait until the next day? So you begin to regulate this as a family. It begins you as an individual, but as a couple, you are each other's keeper. You don't wait until things have gone uh, out of control. And then encourage and identify. People you'll be surprised. They can put out, people are ranting on social media. You have a marital problem. Is the social media the best way to handle it? I don't think so. Can't you reach out to the counselors or to your best friends or whatever you handle at that level? So I'm tired, I feel like taking life, my spouse is like this. You embarrass them. So let's encourage instead of embarrassing them in the public space. And sometimes people do it because they do not know the implications. Because these things, I've seen people lose jobs because actually you just go and log on their sites and you see the kind of information or the pictures that you have. And they are sensitive jobs that you not if it's a child-based organization. And so you do not pass because you are very careless in the usage of social media or technology for that matter. And St. Paul actually says that let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth. So this corrupt word could be the pictures that you churn out and to depict the kind of person you are in. So we need to discern. We need to know our levels. That if you're a married person, there are things you cannot just do carelessly or put out there, and people begin doubting your integrity and level of understanding and how you carry yourself in society. It is very, very important to sift, to be able to know what can go out, what can come. Even there, something that I struggle, like I shared earlier, there's that excitement when you're beginning to use social media, like you want traffic to originate from your side and people to like what you're doing. So in the process, in that emotional state, you are able to disseminate information that you can regret. And remember, whatever you put out there will be hosted in the servers outside you in this country, in the US, wherever. Even if you delete it in your side, this one resides somewhere. And of course, you have seen people getting into problems with the law. If you know that there's a Computer Misuse Act, people are being convicted. So sometimes children can use your phone unknowingly and they're able to access or write messages that could contradict with the law. So it's very important also that on the other side, know what the law is saying before you enter into the public social media space especially. There are laws that can compel that you haven't deleted your text in your phone. The phone telecom company is able to retrieve that information from the servers, and you could be convicted or whatever, embarrassed, and maybe your marriage is ruined. So it is important that technology, for that matter, is used with a high level of discernment and really be able to safeguard our marriages and really the very basis for which God intended it for. And so, as I conclude, I want to say that marriage is God ordained and should mirror God's intended purpose for us and for those who are intending to get married. And then the other one is that social media, like any other thing people can struggle with, is just a tool or a means to an end. That if we use it constructively, it should be able to build our marriages and families that glorify God. And so not look at like we are helpless because now we are in information age. Even people of age, they had issues they were struggling with, but the word of God remains the same. The purpose for marriage will always remain the same. All these things will come, but the word of God will stay as is. So the challenge is on us to see that we're able to stay on course And let these things not sway us because we think we cannot control ourselves or we lack self-control. Because God says in His Word that He cannot tempt you beyond you can imagine. So, and technology can be tamed, it was created by man, and we should be able to control it, and not the other way around, that technology to control us, and then we lament. And so, St. Paul in Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 says that, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely or admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And so, as married people, married couples, our thoughts should be hinged on this, that even if as we use social media, how does it depict, how can we best use it to build our marriages, to worship God, to make sure that we build marriages that glorify God. It's a challenge that we have, that we continue doing that, that is good. And there are our struggles. We take it to the Lord in prayer, and is able to deliver us, is able to lift us up, and He uses people around us, even when we have challenges, to be able to overcome. And in such a way, we can be able to live in harmony as married couples, as families, as a society that honors God. Thank you. The Lord bless you.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Brother Moses Okello. There couldn't have been anyone better than you. My name is Atiku Michael, and I'm a co-moderator for this program. Surely you have expounded it all. You have opened our eyes. I see members have asked some questions here and there. I'm equally going to read some few of those questions, and if any to be answered, some you could respond in 1 or 2 minutes. Let me start from how do I help my husband who is now addicted to pornography as a result of love of technology? That question comes from a member. There's another question also here. I can, what are the boundaries of using devices and the internet? Are there any boundaries that one needs to set? Maybe probably for a Christian, but I think you had already tried to talk about that. There's a question here also, which we may need to help this person. A member asked me if it's okay for a partner to have a password in the gadgets unknown to the other partner. I think, yeah, as a Christian, what shall a Christian do? I think you can help us with that question. Lastly, but not the, yes, I think those are some of the urgent questions. Let me read through. Some of them are very good comments to Brother Moses for the presentation you have made. I think those are some of the questions. Maybe you can throw 1 or 2 lights on any of the questions as we draw closer to the conclusion of this day. Thank you, brother. Over to you.
Thank you, thank you. And now on the addiction to pornography, friends, that is something. An addiction is not something that you can just wake up for one day that is gone. So I encourage the brother or sister that first of all, the most important thing is to admit that there is a problem, which is the first step, and that you need help, that you alone you cannot do it, because you need an accountability partner. So encourage within the church uh, confines, we have counselors, depending on where I'm fellowshipping from. And that calls really humility to admit that I need help, I need to surrender, to account to someone, and these people will be able to walk the journey with you, because it calls for deliverance, and that is going to be a prolonged journey, provided you have a willing heart, a contrite heart, that you need to come out of it. And so that will be my encouragement, that the person knows there's a problem, you need to seek help, especially from a Christian perspective, that counselors are able to walk with you the journey and really seek for deliverance, because it is a demonic act, it is a yoke, and the chains have to be broken, and there's no way you can break those chains unless if you're already chained, I can assure you that you cannot break those chains. You need the help of another person. So that is my encouragement. And the other one, whether members should spouses should have separate passwords. I think I already highlighted in my discussion as a best practice. Me as yeah, if you are already one, and you really say these vows, unless you just repeated them because the priest said it otherwise, there is nothing to hide. Actually, I shared that my wife knows my password. She can access my phone. I can access hers. She can access my ATM. I can access her ATM. There is really nothing to hide. And so that is the work, because really, when you have that virtual world that you live in, it breeds ground for temptation, because you think there is a dark area that your partner doesn't know. So you can survive in there for some time. Before long, it keeps on building, and it can mature to something else. So it is something that you have to define and know that, yes, you are husband and wife. You promise to walk this journey together. You have to be accountable to one another. If there is an issue, and you're able to nip it in the bud before it grows into something that could potentially destroy your marriage. So if you value your marriage, I think there's no way to live about it, that you have one side which should be guarded, and then the other side which can be shared. You don't come half-heartedly. You're either in the fence or out of the fence, not hanging on the periphery of the fence. I think.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brother Moses. Maybe lastly, there's a question which has just come. How do you strike a balance between letting the children know the world around them, yet you don't want them to lose in the world of social media and its negative implications, like you shared? How can you strike a balance here?
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
progressively, these people are growing, and there's educational content. Yeah, our children, for example, have been having online classes that they can be given the gadgets for that purpose. The reason must be known why they need the gadgets to use at that particular time. But unrestricted access, and really these are minors, as long as they have the means and the gadgets and the data, actually these people will not sleep. And because they are excited, and when you enter into the virtual world, you even forget what is happening out there. So really, as long as they are minors, I think you owe a duty of care as a parent to be able to regulate. How much more information? There is a lot of content. Even these people come with home with the homework and all that. So what is it that they are going to mean? Because if you follow, it's just about sharing the videos, this graphic content and all that with those groups, which actually, as an educationist, that a lot of exposure on this content reduces this people's creativity and even their level of performance in class. So I would rather, as a parent within my means, I will do my best until these people are of age to be able to comprehend the amount of information and the intentions people have there. Because much of this information is shared not because these people love us or they want us to know, but they have their own agenda. So it is you, the parents, their responsibility to safeguard these people until they are mature enough to be able to handle what comes in the media space.
Wow. Thank you so much, Brother Moses. We hope next time when we invite you, you'll still be at the Lord's service. We have learned a lot from you. And to the church, if we are physical, we'll say we clap, but I think we can still clap wherever you are. Brother Moses, may God continue to increase for you as we draw closer to the end of this men's fellowship today. But I have realized we have more other women here than the men. So can it be called Christian fellowship today? I think that's the best word. I am going to request, I don't know, Brother Dixon, is there anything you would like to say before I invite Reverend? If not, I'm going to invite Reverend Kanyike to give us a closing prayer. Thank you. Yes, Reverend, could you kindly take over? Oh, I'm seeing here. Just let me take to Reverend. I think we have a bit of challenge with the technology somewhere. Oh, well, allow me request another person. I don't know what is happening. Mr. David Achidri, could you kindly give us a closing prayer? Wow. I think I'll come back to you, brothers. Moses, I think the blessings are all for you today. Kindly do so. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Friends, let's humble ourselves for a closing prayer. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for a day like this, for an evening like this. We thank you, Lord, that because you live, you've given us this day. We thank you, Lord, for the sharing that we have had this evening concerning our marriages in the face of the advances in the digital age. We want to bless you, Lord, because You are the author of marriage, and you are the author of all these technologies and the things that your people create. We want to bless your name, that Lord, the seed that you planted in our hearts, that Lord, you'll grow it, you'll multiply it, it will be an encouragement, but most importantly, that will be the doers of the word. King of glory, help us to value the institution of marriage and for the purpose that you created it, and to know that, Lord, it is very dear to you, and that you will honor it, that not even technology will sway us away, but rather we'll be able to use it to effectively grow the institution of marriage and family that will honor you, that will serve you for the generations to come. May we be remembered as people who are not swayed away, but stood firm to the tenets of what you ordained for us. So, Lord, we want to bless you and want to pray that, Lord, you will continue being our midst. We bless you for this ministry of the online church of Uganda. We pray that, Lord, this that you have started, you'll bring it to its completion according to your will and purposes. We want to pray for our leadership for this online church of Uganda, that you give them wisdom, encouragement, and provision, O Lord, and direction. And that, Lord, your word will permeate across the different parts of the world. King of glory, may you reign, because you are God. May your Lord cause us to reduce, and that, Lord, you will increase in us, that will have thirst for your word, that, Lord, will be an encouragement to men, O Lord. Even where we have been short, where we have had weaknesses, the use of social media, Lord, I pray that, Lord, you help us, enable us, deliver us, and give us the rightful support to be able to overcome those addictions and those weaknesses that we have carried. That King of glory will look up to you, and that, Lord, will walk your ways because you love us. We thank you, Lord, even for the night ahead of us. We commit ourselves into your hands and pray that, Lord, you keep us. You will protect us and preserve us with our families, with our loved ones, and meet each one of us at our different points of need. We thank you, Lord. We bless your name because we have prayed all this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.